Welcome to this edition of The Explainer. If you're looking to efficiently connect today's incredibly dense, dynamic news directly to the core of your static UPSC syllabus, you are in exactly the right place. We've got a ton of ground to cover today to synthesize these 14 current events, so let's jump right in.
Here's how we're breaking things down today. First, we'll look at the global stage. Then, we bring it home to the national stage. Third, we'll explore human and future frontiers. After that, we'll put it into practice with Mains answer frameworks, and we'll wrap the whole thing up with a rapid-fire revision.
All right, let's kick things off with Section 1, the global stage, focusing on international relations and economic diplomacy.
Look at this stark contrast India is navigating right now. On one hand, we've secured a massive win for economic diplomacy, a free trade agreement where New Zealand removes 100% of tariffs on Indian goods, bringing with it a $20 billion investment commitment. But right alongside that, our strategic autonomy is under serious pressure. The U.S. sanctions waiver for India's operations at the Shahid Behishti terminal in Chabahar literally just expired on April 26th. So New Delhi is having to walk this incredibly delicate tightrope between our energy and connectivity interests in Central Asia and some very heavy Western pressure.
Now, here's a classic prelims trap you absolutely need to watch out for. An FDA is fundamentally different from a customs union. A customs union involves a common external tariff, which an FTA does not. And don't forget the context here. India specifically opted out of the RCEP back in 2019. Plus, keep in mind that treaties like this New Zealand FTA aren't instantly active the moment they're signed. They require parliamentary ratification. These are exactly the kind of nuanced distinctions the examiners love to test you on. Zooming out, we're seeing some massive shifts in global power dynamics, and we can group three major flashpoints together. First, with the Strait of Hormuz effectively blocked in the Iran-US conflict, roughly 20% of the world's oil is choked off. That's a huge deal for India's energy security. Meanwhile, the US president is hitting the 60-day limit of the 1973 War Powers Act, which really tests the constitutional limits of executive military action without congressional approval. And right in our own neighborhood, China is aggressively using its Tiangong space station and Beidou navigation system as massive soft power tools, deepening its strategic integration with Pakistan by sending a Pakistani astronaut to their station.
Moving right along to Section 2, the national stage, where we'll unpack polity, governance, and elections. Okay, let's break down the anti-defection law with this straightforward flowchart. We just saw 7 AAP Rajya Sabha MPs merge with the BJP. So what does the static law say? Well, paragraph 4 of the 10th schedule allows an exemption from defection if 2/3 of a legislative party merges. 7 out of 10 is 70%, so mathematically they cross that threshold. But here is where the constitutional friction happens. A 2023 Supreme Court ruling clearly distinguished between a legislature party and a political party, stating the political party is supreme. This creates a really fascinating legal gray area for how the 10th schedule is being interpreted in real-time politics today. And here is your key takeaway for prelims. Yes, the 52nd Amendment added the 10th schedule. And yes, the presiding officer's decision is final. But, and this is a big but, it is absolutely subject to judicial review under the landmark Kyoto-Holohan case. Lock that into your memory. They are not entirely immune from the courts. Now let's look at voter rolls. We have to impartially compare the Election Commission's recent Special Intensive Revision, or SIR, in Bengal and Bihar against the strict statutory limits of the Representation of the People Act. The ECI deleted millions of voters, citing a newly coined term, logical discrepancies. However, if you look at Section 21 of the RPA 1950, it strictly mandates that only summary revisions, not intensive ones, should be conducted right before an election. This raises some serious constitutional questions about Article 326, which guarantees adult suffrage, and whether these administrative actions are overstepping statutory boundaries.
Shifting to digital governance, the new draft IT rules are stirring up a major debate. The Ministry of Electronics and IT proposes amending Rule 3 to basically condition a platform's safe harbor on whether they comply with informal government directives. This is absolutely critical because it risks diluting the landmark Shreyas Singlehold judgment of 2015. That judgment established that platforms should only be forced to take down content via formal court or gazette orders to protect our Article 19 free speech rights. For prelims, you need to pin this down. Safe harbor is defined under Section 79 of the IT Act of 2000, not the Indian Penal Code. Also, remember that it was Section 66A that was famously struck down in the Shreyas Singhal case. Section 79 remains valid law. Don't let them trick you on that.
To wrap up our national coverage, let's connect some dots on federal security under the Home Ministry. Look at the immense logistical strain on our federal security apparatus right now. We're seeing over 8,500 CAP-FAP troops being pulled from highly volatile regions like Manipur just to secure Phase 2 elections in West Bengal. Simultaneously, the Leh apex body in Ladakh is actively demanding statehood and inclusion in the 6th schedule for tribal autonomy. And remember, this is a direct ripple effect of the 2019 J&K Reorganization Act, which originally created Ladakh as a union territory without its own legislator.
Next step, Section 3, Human and Future Frontiers, where we bridge society, science, and environment.
This is a really fascinating comparison for GS1. Look at Bihar's development paradox. It has incredibly strong identity politics that historically broke upper caste dominance, yet it currently sits with the lowest human development index in the country, and 2/3 of its marginalized households remain entirely landless. Now contrast that with the Kerala model, which historically paired its progressive ideology with actual strict material land redistribution. The takeaway here? Political empowerment without deep structural economic reform leaves social justice purely aspirational.
Now consider this global juxtaposition. Here at home, CBSE is actively integrating computational thinking and AI into middle schools for classes 3 to 8, aligning with the NEP 2020. Meanwhile, halfway across the world, in Chile's Atacama Desert, the driest astronomical hub on Earth, scientists are battling outdated laws to protect some of the world's most powerful telescopes from light pollution. And the irony here? The threat isn't just from urban sprawl. It's actually coming from green energy projects like massive wind and solar farms being built way too close to these dark sky preserves. Okay, let's talk biotech, because this is a massive breakthrough for your GS3 science and tech prep. CAR T-cell therapy, which modifies a patient's own immune system to fight cancer, has historically struggled to beat solid tumors. Why? Because an enzyme called EZH2 essentially hides the target proteins, making the cancer cells invisible to the treatment. But scientists have just developed a solution, a brand new HIT receptor. This receptor bypasses normal pathways to detect those incredibly faint protein signals, allowing the modified T cells to track down and destroy solid tumors that were previously hiding. It's a total game changer.
All right, we've synthesized the news. Let's translate it into actual marks in Section 4 Mains answer frameworks. Take a look at this highly probable GS2 polity question. It asks you to critically examine the statement that the 10th schedule has become impotent in light of the recent political mergers and to suggest reforms. How do you tackle a prompt that uses such strong language? First, stay neutral and break down the mechanics. Start your intro with the original intent of the 52nd Amendment. In your body paragraphs, clearly explain the paragraph 4 loophole, that 2/3 legislature party exception. Then cite the exact tension we discussed, the 2023 Supreme Court distinction between a legislature party and a political party, contrasted against the chairman's legal acceptance of the merger. Finally, you have to offer concrete solutions. Conclude with reforms like the Dinesh Goswami Committee's recommendation to shift disqualification powers away from the Speaker and over to an independent tribunal.
Our next mains target looks at governance and digital free speech under the draft IT rules.
To maximize your score here, anchor your introduction in Article 19(1)(a). Structure your body paragraphs around the specific threat to Section 79 Safe Harbor via Rule 3.4. Explain how making this conditional on informal directives risks a chilling effect on speech. You absolutely must rely on the Shreya Singhal precedent and the 2021 Bombay High Court stay to ground your argument in established law. Conclude by affirming that while the state absolutely has a right to regulate under Article 19(2), it requires firm legislative backing, not just delegated, informal rules. Finally, let's lock all of this in with Section 5, our rapid-fire revision. Here is your ultimate cheat sheet. Pause the screen if you need to. This connects today's dynamic events straight to your core GS syllabus keywords, from tariff elimination in GS3 to linking the Shahid Beheshti terminal to our strategic autonomy in GS2 to recognizing the HIT receptor as a massive leap in biotechnology. This is exactly how you consolidate your knowledge efficiently. I'm going to leave you with this thought-provoking essay theme today. Democracy without accountability is an empty ritual. As you review the 10th schedule debates or the new IT rules, ask yourself how accountability is actually maintained in our modern systems. Why does this matter for your exam? Because connecting raw daily facts to deep structural ideas is exactly how you conquer the UPSC. Keep analyzing, keep connecting those dots, and I will see you in the next explainer.
If you're ready to really practice all 8 mains questions from today's news, and you want to get your hands on Prelims MCQs and detailed notes, go ahead and download the complete PDF. Just scan the QR code on your screen or use the link in the description to join our Telegram channel. Keep up the amazing work, stay consistent, and I will see you in the next explainer.